In a recent interview, which I'll leave a link to in the description below, Kathy Duva has come out and said that talks are now underway between her team and Andre Ward's team for a possible showdown between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward sometime in 2016. She says that they had talked previously, but Ward's team were not ready for the fight at that particular time. But recently they've now come back to Kathy Duva and said they are now ready for the fight. So these talks are apparently underway. Now, most of you probably know that Andre Ward was signed to the Goosen promotional outfit previously. And he won the Super 6 with them. He beat Carl Froch and whatnot. But his relationship with that promotional company went sour. And from what I can see, the reason why that relationship went sour is because they weren't getting Andre Ward the exposure and the paydays that he felt his achievements and his talent warranted. Yes, Andre Ward is not the most entertaining fighter, but you had, at the same time as that, you had a very defensive fighter in Floyd Mayweather as the biggest fighter in boxing, the biggest celebrity in boxing. So Andre Ward looked at that and thought, you know what? Why can't my promoter, given the fact I've just cleaned out my division, been involved in this tournament, I've been grinding, why can't my promoter get me somewhere to the level of a Floyd Mayweather in terms of exposure and being involved in big fights? Why can't I be on that level? So Andre Ward then got involved in a long drawn out legal battle with his then promoter. And he was trying to sever himself from the contract. Anyway, long story short, his promoter, Dan Goosen, ended up dying. And Andre Ward was released from his contract shortly thereafter. Now, given the fact that he was on the shelf for so long, because there was a lot of inactivity in Andre Ward's career, mainly down to the fact that he was in this big legal problem with his promoter. That's the main reason he wasn't fighting. Given that he went through all that, you would have thought that he would have, as soon as he got out of that contract, you would have thought that he would have signed with a tried and tested, proven, well-established promoter next time he put pen to paper. There are guys out there like Golden Boy, obviously, Top Rank Bob Arum, and Al Heyman. But he didn't choose any of those. He chose to sign with Rock Nation, who are new kids on the block, who might just be a flash in the pan, just like 50 Cent and his SMS promotional outfit that's already gone bust. How long are Rock Nation going to last? How committed are they really to boxing? At the moment, Rock Nation have got Miguel Cotto, but Miguel Cotto's already a brand name. He's already huge. Anyone could pretty much promote Miguel Cotto now because you just put his name out there and it sells itself. Andre Ward's not on that level. So he needs a promoter that's going to be able to build his name and build his brand. They don't have to do that with Cotto because Cotto's already an established brand. So, yeah, he signs with Rock Nation. And one of the problems with Rock Nation is obviously they're, owned by Jay-Z. And Jay-Z doesn't have a good relationship with Al Heyman. And if you look at Al Heyman's stable at 168 and 175, there is a ton of fighters that could have been potential opponents for Andre Ward had he signed with Al Heyman. At 168, you got Badu Jack, you got Andre Durrell, you got Anthony Durrell, you got James DeGale. That's just at 168. Now, we know that Andre Ward previously had cleaned out the division. a couple years back. But the super middleweight division now is a totally different division to what it was when Andre Ward cleaned it out. I'm not saying it's better. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm just saying it's different because the fighters now are different. So Andre Ward would have had the opportunity, had he signed with Heyman, to clean out the division all over again. And there are a lot of people who are pressuring Andre Ward, a lot of boxing fans and whatnot, to move up to 175, acting as though he's a coward for not moving up to 175. In fact, I've heard so much foolishness about Andre Ward. I just have to laugh. People saying that Andre Ward turned professional at super middleweight instead of light heavyweight to avoid fighting Kovalev or to avoid taking on good challenges. This is what idiots are saying. Now, first of all, for you idiots who come out with rubbish like that, the majority of fighters, not all, but certainly over 50% of fighters, when they turn professional, they move down in weight. They fight at a lighter weight than they fought at, you know, when they were amateurs. Certainly at the latter stages of their amateur career, when they turn pro, they tend to move down a division. And there's a very simple reason why. Because when you're amateur, you weigh in on the day of the fight. And when you're in a tournament, you may have, you know, 3, 4, 5 fights over the course of 2 days. So it's impossible to dehydrate yourself for a whole tournament to weigh in every time. That's impossible. But whereas in the professional game, you get 24 hours. You get a long training camp for one, and then you get 24 hours to rehydrate after the weigh-in. So in professional boxing, you get the opportunity to exploit dehydration far more than you do in amateur boxing, which is why definitely over 50% of fighters, when they turn pro at a lighter weight than they were fighting at as in the amateurs. Simple. You look at Tony Bellew, for example, fought at heavyweight in the amateurs. When he turned professional, he was light heavyweight. And I could just go on all the way down the line. Again, it's not every fighter, but a significant proportion of them. Tim Bradley was fighting at middleweight in the amateurs. He's welterweight now. Sean Porter was fighting at middleweight. He's welterweight now. I could continue on. Some fighters, obviously, they're very young when they turn professional, so they're still very, very much growing. And you expect them to get, sometimes they're going to turn pro at the same weight that they were when they were amateur or heavier. Amir Khan's an example. Amir Khan was in the Olympics when he was 17. When you're 17 years old, your body is really growing at a very rapid rate. You're filling out very quickly when you're 17. So he turned pro, and he was going to turn pro at least at the same weight that he was fighting as an amateur, if not heavier. But most guys are turning pro in their early 20s when their body's stabilizing. And most of them, like I say, are turning pro at a lighter weight than they were fighting in their last few amateur fights. So anyway, back to the point at hand. Andre Ward would have had plenty of opposition at super middleweight had he chose to sign with Al Heyman. And I've got no issue with a guy staying at one weight class for the majority of his career. Marvin Hagler did that. People don't criticize Marvin Hagler and say, oh, Hagler's not that good, this, that, and the other, or Hagler's a coward because he didn't move up in weight, or this, that, and the other. People don't do that. People accept Marvin Hagler as one of, if not the greatest middleweight of all time, because of the fact that he did stay at that one weight class and he cleaned it out, and he was undisputed champion for year after year after year, and he turned back all challengers. To be recognized as the greatest in any particular weight division, you have to stay in that weight division for a long time. So I ain't got no problem with Ward not moving up or whatever the case may be. Now, this whole situation with Ward and Golovkin has pretty much turned most of the boxing world against Ward, and they're all supporting Golovkin, which I find disturbing. And I tell you why. Because Golovkin's team issued a challenge to anyone. They said any fighter between 154 and 168. This is what they said. We will fight anyone from 154 to 168. So when Andre Ward started speaking Golovkin's name, he was just answering that challenge. And as soon as he answered that challenge, Golovkin wants to start talking about catchweights. So I don't have a problem with Golovkin staying at middleweight per se and not moving up to fight anyone at 168. I don't have a problem with that if it wasn't for the fact that him or his team had already come out and issued a challenge to fight that they would take on anyone between 154 and 168. That's why I have a problem with them all of a sudden wanting to catch weight and this, that, and the other. That's why I got a problem with that. Don't start calling people out or calling out three divisions. And then when someone answers the challenge, you want to start talking about catch weights. Don't do that. So that's why I'm unsympathetic with Golovkin in that situation, but I'm more sympathetic with Ward and the Kovalev situation, because Ward never said, I'll take on anyone from 160 to 175. He didn't say that. He's never said that. He's just doing his own thing at super middleweight, minding his own business. How can you criticize that? Again, I find it very disturbing, the double standards that some people like to come with. But anyway, Andre Ward switched promoters, is now with Rock Nation, as a very bad choice in my opinion. Again, if you look at Al Heyman's stable, even at light heavyweight, when he eventually decides to move up to light heavyweight officially, Al Heyman's got Artur Beterbiev, he's got Adonis Stevenson, he's got Andre Fonfara, and I'm sure there are other light heavyweights I'm not thinking of. So whether it's 175 or 168, Heyman has got far more options, or he would have had far more options for Andre Ward than Rock Nation are going to have. And Rock Nation, as I say, are not on good terms with Al Heyman. Terrible, terrible, terrible business move by Andre Ward and his management team, in my opinion. So because of all that, because of the fact that he really don't have options, I'm thinking that's why he's coming back to speak to Kathy Duver and Kovalev's people. That's why. Because he's got nowhere else to go. He's tried going down the Golovkin road, but Golovkin's talking about catch weights. All the other 168 fighters are with Al Heyman, all the major guys. So that's a dead end, it seems. And light heavyweight, even the only guy available who's not a Heyman guy, apart from maybe Jürgen Bremer, is Sergey Kovalev. And obviously Kovalev's on HBO as well, so that makes it easier. So I think that's what this situation is all about. Very poor business decisions from Andre Ward, in my opinion, as I've said. Will the Kovalev fight happen? Who do I think would win if it does happen? At this point in time, I think Kovalev will win. I think Ward's inactivity will play a major part, but also the fact that Kovalev, I think, may just be too strong for Andre Ward in terms of punching power. This guy can hit with both hands. Even his jabs are hurting people and dropping people. So I definitely have to pick him to beat Andre Ward if they were to fight anytime soon. Maybe if Ward can get back in the mix and beat some decent opposition and look good doing it, I might change my opinion on that. But as of right now, I'd definitely be picking Kovalev to beat Andre Ward. Maybe even stop him. Ward might go on the run for 12 rounds once he feels Kovalev's power. But I don't know. We'll see how that fight goes. Let me know how you would see a fight going between Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward if they were to fight anytime soon. But it seems because of Andre Ward's poor business decisions that this is the only fight out there for him at the moment. There's nothing else on the table. Can't seem to fight any of the Al Haymon guys at 168 or 175. Imagine Andre Ward versus Adonis Stevenson. Most of you would probably pick Ward to win that fight. He could have got that fight easily had he signed with Al Haymon. I don't know what this situation is with Andre Ward and his relationship with HBO. Maybe that plays into some of it. I know HBO obviously don't have a good relationship with Haymon. Is that why he didn't sign with Haymon? Because he's still got this ongoing contract with HBO as an analyst, as an announcer, commentator, whatever. Is that maybe a reason why? I don't know. But the only fight that he can really make right now is one with Sergey Kovalev, the only big fight. But had he been with Haymon, you got Stevenson, you got Beterbiev, you got Fonfara at light heavyweight. Those are all light heavyweight fights. Could possibly still get a Chavez Jr. fight because that was a fight that he was looking at. A super middleweight, Badu Jack, James DeGale, both Durrell brothers, and there are other guys as well. So it is what it is. Drop your comments below, people. Let me know what you think about all the points and topics and issues I've raised in this video, and drop them in the comment section below. It's happening. I'm out.